30 seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish. I'm joined with Drew, and today we'll be going over the Texans pro day visits at certain colleges. And before we begin, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more Texans content. And the Texans staff has been very, very busy these past few days. They met a variety of colleges, so we'll just start with the ones that they met today, and then we'll work our way to the ones that they met yesterday. So today they met Penn State. Drew, what are some names you like from that college?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of good guys. I think mainly on the defensive side is where I put my focus on. We'll start with edge Arnold Ebiketie. I feel like he is kind of underrated. He's the 36th overall player on my board. He's the sixth edge that I have ranked there. This is a very deep edge class, but Arnold Ebiketie has a lot of explosiveness. He's good with his hands, with his feet. To me, he projects as anywhere from a 3-4 outside linebacker to a 4-3 defensive end, which I think would really be good for him, especially potentially for the Texans. Lovie Smith is going to want a lot of edge players. He had a lot. He did rotate them a lot. I don't think he necessarily be a pass rushing specialist. I think that he has all the traits to be a well-rounded defensive end. He has the size. He is 6'2", 250 pounds. So he's got a lot of potential. But yeah, to me, his main traits are his explosiveness, also putting the power with his hands. I think he's got a lot of pass rushing potential, and he's solid on the run stopping side too. And then we'll go to linebacker Brandon Smith. He's a very, very athletic linebacker. He was a 5-star coming out of high school. Like many people know, the Texans drafted Davis Mills, who was a 5-star out of high school too, which does matter. It shows they have a lot of talent. He is just so athletic. He ran a 4.38 40-yard dash as a high school recruit. He didn't necessarily have the best college career, but he definitely has the athletic traits. He could be a sub linebacker or kind of just a coverage linebacker in zone heavy defenses, which the Texans are. And Tampa 2, you're going to need a lot of pass coverage linebackers and athletic linebackers that can get from sideline to sideline. I think that would be exactly that. And then another player from Penn State, not necessarily super high on him, but Jaquan Brisker, the safety. I think he plays a little too aggressive. He doesn't make the best plays in coverage, but he is very, very physical. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. I think that he's got the potential. You can possibly play him as like a box linebacker, but it is good for the Texans to be checking out all the prospects, and that could be one they're interested in. But the main guys I think they should be looking to is definitely Arnold Ebiketie, Brandon Smith, and obviously Jaquan Brisker has a lot of potential there with his physical traits.
Yeah, and all those guys are projected to have second round value. So if we do go with, like, say, Hamilton at 3, then we could try to looking at Ebiketie at 37, or if we go with Edge at 3, then we could look at Brisker at 37. So these are some really good names to look at. I love those names that you mentioned. And then the next college we'll be talking about is Memphis. Some very intriguing names. Who do you like from there?
So Memphis, they have some interesting prospects, but I think the report was that the Texans offensive line coach was there, meaning that they're specifically most likely there for Memphis interior offensive lineman who mainly plays center, Dylan Parham. Interesting about Dylan Parham is that he was a linebacker and tight end in high school. He also played basketball and track, so he's an athlete. He's obviously very athletic. He is interesting in that way. For example, Roy Lopez, he was a wrestler, in his high school life, and then I'm sure he still does stuff like that, to stay athletic and stuff like that. So interesting there. Of course, coming, from being a basketball player, he did track. He has really good feet for an offensive lineman. Very, very athletic. I think he could be a really good run blocker, to be able to pull, be able to zone block, just keep those feet moving. Also, he has a little bit of strength, but he's going to need to bulk up a little bit in terms of pass blocking. having really good feet is very effective. So you can just keep moving around, keep the guys in front of you, because your quickness is what's going to help you make up for mistakes that you might have with your hands. So I think it's very beneficial for him. Obviously, like I said, the offensive line coach was there, but the Memphis wide receiver Calvin Austin, he had one of the fastest 40-yard dashes. So that's just something the Texans could be looking into. They'll probably adjust the wide receiver position at some point in the draft. So yeah, look out for Dylan Parham in the draft. He's a very good interior offensive lineman who could go anywhere from the second to fourth round.
Yeah, and Dylan Parham, he actually shows great versatility at like left guard. His first 2 seasons were at left guard. Third season was at like right tackle, and he finished his career at right guard. So he can move all up and down the line. So I'd really like him. I've like done plenty of mocks, and like I've always gotten him at the third round. So hopefully he'll be there for the Texans to draft him. Definitely need that inside O line help. And Calvin Austin's very speedy dude that we could definitely use. And so the next college we'll be going over is Ndsu, and I think a lot of Texans fans are enamored with this certain player. Drew, could you tell us more about him?
Yeah, there is so much to be excited here. And of course, at NDSU, the one staff member the Texans brought there was Ben McDaniels, who is our wide receiver coach, which could only mean that the Texans were there to see Christian Watson, who was projected to go in the late first to mid second. Texans currently have the 37th overall pick, which is like the fourth or fifth pick in the second round. Of course, they have all those other first round picks, which they can move around a little bit in. But Christian Watson is just a fantastic athlete. He is 6'4", some say 6'5". He ran a 4.28. His 4-yard dash is absolutely insane for someone at his height. He is about 210 pounds. He's electric with the ball in his hands. He can, play outside. He can also play inside. He also was used a little bit as like a running back, kind of like a Deebo Samuel wide back role. But an interesting thing is that, NDSU, North Dakota State, is a very run-heavy team. Christian Watson gave so much effort in the run blocking game that I would say he's by far the best blocking wide receiver. The Texans want to run a run-heavy offense, which is going to require blocking from all levels. So something right there is so valuable. So I'm really glad the Texans are checking him out because they need to be able to, see what the type of player he is, talk to him, learn more about him. This is a great opportunity for him. He can be used in so many aspects. I think he might be one of the players that fit the best with the Texans. There's a lot of different receivers in the draft. I would classify Christian Watson as kind of a unicorn. He has elite athleticism for his size. He has great physical traits. Great character traits. He can be used in so many ways. Penalty, heavy run, and quick throws. As like an extension of the run game. So those two things, Christian Watson would be absolutely perfect as. I think that he would be a fantastic pick at pick 37, or potentially if we trade back in the first, or trade back in the first, something like that.
Yeah, and Christian Watson, if there's like this one tool at the combine that they use to measure like how good they are at certain like drills, like the long jump, the broad jump, or like their vertical. And Christian Watson, he like scored like in the 99th percentile of like all those things. So when Drew said he's a unicorn, he's definitely a unicorn with like what tools he can bring. So definitely an interesting player if we don't decide to go at wide receiver at 13. But there's some other wide receivers we're going to talk about later in this video. But the next school we're going to be talking about is Cincinnati. There's so many good defensive players from that school. Drew, who do you like from that team? I mean, school.
Yeah. So obviously we gotta talk about Sauce Gardner. There's a lot of mixed reviews about him, but I think that he can have the potential to be the best cornerback in the draft. There's a lot of guys. It's a deep cornerback draft, but Sauce Gardner, he has it all. He has the length. He has great recovery speed. He's going to have to learn to be a little bit more physical with running backs, but he seems to be a really aggressive tackler, which I really like. Great ball skills. He had 3 interceptions. He also had 3 sacks, which is really cool. They use him, a little bit of cornerback blitz sometimes. So he's got all the physical traits. I'm not exactly sure, which coverage he projects best in because he did use a lot of the trail technique in man coverage at Cincinnati, which is mainly just because, his arms are so long. He's 6'3", he's able to use his length and his recovery speed just to his advantage, which he does really good at. So if you can refine some of his techniques, I think that he can absolutely be the best cornerback in the draft. So I really like Sauce Gardner. He could be an option for the Texans at pick 13. A lot of people think the Jets might take a corner. Falcons could take a corner. Jets could take corner at 10. Lots of teams could, take corners there. But there's multiple corners in the draft. Stingley, Booth, guys like that. And then also, there is a linebacker and an edge. We're going to talk about Cincinnati. We got Darian Beavers, who's kind of a bigger linebacker, middle linebacker. He's 6'4", 255 pounds, so he can be more of a run stopper, physical guy. But you could probably play him around at a 4-3. You could play him at the Sam or Mike position. He's not necessarily the best coverage linebacker, but he's someone the Texans could be looking into. And then at edge, you got MJ Sanders, who's an interesting prospect. He dropped to 227 pounds at the combine, but recently got back up to 245 pounds. He had dropped that weight because of his had a little illness that caused him to lose a lot of weight. But he has a lot of quickness and explosion. He has a great first step, the potential to be a pass rushing specialist. If he can keep his weight up, he has potential to grow in the run stopping game. But yeah, MJ Sanders, great physical, athletic player, lots of potential there.
Yeah, and some people have even been saying like might as well take Sauce at number 3, if say Hamilton's gone or something, or maybe even over Hamilton. I've seen a lot of crazy things. A lot of people would love Sauce Gardner from what I've seen. So definitely interesting to see how the Texans do address that but there is a lot of cornerback depth in the draft. So it's intriguing to see whether or not they'll go with him. But the next school we'll be going over are schools that the Texans visited yesterday. So the Texans did visit Ohio. Pep Hamilton, Lovie Smith were both there. Drew, which players do you like from that school?
Yes, so Ohio State. Pep Hamilton was there. A lot of people, saw the picture of Pep Hamilton, C.J. Stroud. If you want to get a little excited about that, we'll talk about that next year. C.J. Stroud's a great prospect. But yeah, the receivers is really the main reason why every team in the NFL was there to see Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. So Garrett Wilson, he's my 10th player on the board, my number 1 wide receiver. Then you got Chris Olave, who's 20th overall on my board, and the 5th receiver on my board. But they're very, very similar. I feel like they're similar it's probably because, they went to Ohio State. They were coached a lot of the similar things. The similars in their game is their balance, their hands, and their route running. I would say that Garrett Wilson, he is, probably quicker up the first step. He's probably a little bit better with the ball in his hands. But yeah, he's also 1 year younger than Chris Olave. I feel like that's a little important to talk about there. And then, I would say Chris Olave is probably more of a slot/deep threat kind of guy. Probably has a little bit better, longer speed than Garrett Wilson. But yeah, the balance that they have, I know it's kind of an underrated term, but if you've seen the catch of Garrett Wilson, probably 5 feet in the air versus Clemson and the Fiesta Bowl, it's just an absolutely ridiculous catch. They are so good at that. They've been coached really well, and they have tons of potential. These receivers are so well balanced, and I feel like Texans could, take any of them. Chris Olave had a great combine. I think his official 40 time was a 4.33, something like that. Garrett Wilson was a little slower. But yeah, like I said, Garrett Wilson has a little bit better instant speed. So yeah, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are definitely 2 prospects the Texans will be looking into.
Yeah, I've been wanting the Texans ever since they got that that pick 13. I've been wanting them to take a wide receiver, and just I would love any of them, honestly. Apparently, Garrett Wilson's prospect comparison is Deontay Johnson, and Chris Olave's prospect comparison is Devonta Smith. Pretty interesting. I got those comparisons from the Draft Network. But yeah, either one of them, also Christian Watson, just definitely want wide receiver in the first or second round. But yeah, and so the next school we're going to be talking about is UTSA, and Nick Caserio. I don't know if y'all saw clips of it, but Nick Casario was pretty hands-on in this whole process, and that's what you love to see from your general manager. But Drew, what player do you think Nick Casario was looking at when he was there?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool to see him participate in some of those drills. That's our GM. He loves working. But yeah, Tariq Woolen is the guy I think they're looking at. He's a cornerback. He's 6'4". He had a sub 4.3 40 time, which is just insanely impressive. Again, you don't see many 6'4" guys running like that. He probably classifies as another unicorn guy. So some people say that he might, be able to play a little free safety. But I think corner is a really good spot for him, especially in a Lovie Smith defense. Lovie talked about how you need to be able to tackle, you need to be able to have length, which is really good because if you're playing in a cover two show, you have to be able to cover routes that only go 5 to 10 yards. You got to be able to pass it off. You got to be able to jump and deflect the ball in the air, and when the ball goes in between you and the corner and the safety. I think Tariq Woolen, his length is going to allow him to do just that. So my guy is, that I pick at 37 would probably be Christian Watson, Tariq Woolen, and another guy we'll talk about later. But yeah, he has just a really unique blend of size, length, and athleticism that would just be absolutely perfect in this scheme.
And the last school we're going to be talking about is Texas A&M for our A&M fans that are Clutch City Entertainment subscribers. But A&M does have a lot of prospects in this year's draft. What are some names that stand out to you, Drew?
Yeah, so this is obviously big school A&M, a lot of Aggie fans out there, and a lot of people are going to want Kenyan Green, the interior offensive lineman. He's my 21st overall player on the board. A lot of people want him at pick 13 for the Texans, but they could trade back. He is very scheme versatile. He can play all the guard positions. He can potentially play right tackle. He's really competitive. He's got great quickness, great balance, really good feet. He could be great in like a zone blocking the scheme, but he can also be an effective puller on in the run power game, which is something that Pat Hamilton offense could potentially be. He's got really good hands. He's just such a really balanced prospect that can do it all. Very versatile. He's got that quick first step that you look for. So he's absolutely probably going to go in the first round. If he does drop, Texans could possibly get him at 37, but even at 13, I could definitely see that happen. In terms of other prospects, they have the tight end Jalen Weinermeyer. Not too impressed with him. He had a 5 flat 40 time, which is really, really bad. He could potentially go undrafted there. And they also got Leon O'Neal, the safety, who is a really aggressive player, but I think he makes a little bit too many mistakes. Kind of like Jaquan Brisker, kind of a risky prospect to go for. But A&M's got a lot of talent, and we'll see if the Texans can get any of them.
And also Spiller from A&M, another player. He also didn't have a great 40-yard dash, but honestly, in my opinion, 40-yard dash is kind of overrated unless you're really slow. So I feel like that shouldn't be a big issue. So maybe like some people have been theorizing the Texans should go with running back in the top 3 rounds, and I definitely think it's a possibility at like pick 80. Because like that's a good like spot where some of the running backs have seemed to fall in. But it's like the NFL draft. We can never predict these things. So we'll see what that when that happens. But that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know if we talked about a prospect from your school and you want to give more information in the comment section below, or if we talked about a prospect that you really like, let us know in the comments. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank you all for watching. Peace.